What's up, brother, man?
Mike, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going,
Good, man.
guys?
Hey, Tyson.
So
All
what do you
right. I'm pumped for this one, guys. I really am.
Absolutely, me too. Hey, thanks for having us on, by the way.
Thanks
Appreciate
for making the time to be here. I
it.
appreciate
Yeah,
it a
man.
lot. Too.
Say that again.
Sorry. What are you guys up to?
Uh, the usual, man. We're out here at the gym every single day. We're trying to figure out different ways to connect with our clients and better prepare them in this time with workouts and little drills they can do at home. That's about it.
Yeah. I've seen that you guys have been doing a lot of filming lately. You want to brush us up on what you guys got going on in the lab?
Yeah, Russian. Um, Well, we now that we have a bunch of time, so we're trying to just get some filming of us around Vancouver, us around into the facility, and just kind of bring awareness of our space that we have. So when things start firing back up again, people are a little bit more familiarized with what we're trying to do over here. So that's all we're trying to get done. Trying to adapt with the times.
Yeah, basically everybody now, even in the gym and fitness world, I mean, everything's virtual as you can see, and it's very hard to buy into it, especially from a baseball standpoint, because it's such a hands-on sport. But it's not impossible. So, we're kind of trying to show our clients that there's still so much work we can get done in the comfort of our own home, staying safe, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
That sounds great. So you guys have been doing weekly, well, it's different now. You guys are on Zoom now doing the virtual training sessions with East Van Sports. So how's that been going for you guys? You guys have been getting a decent turnout?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going good. We have a few of our gung ho clients that we have that we train throughout the winter and fall. Basically, we started on the Instagram Live where we were doing workouts with Coach Holtzmann here, who is the owner of East Van Sports Rehab Clinic, and he's put together a program that is athletic specific, baseball specific. So, these kids can get into positions that we would get them into, whether they're fielding a ground ball or hitting. So they don't really need any equipment to figure out how to hinge a hip or, get into the balls of their feet. So, transitioning to the Zoom platform is new for us. We're just trying to figure it out also, but it's been going well so far, and we have a good little turnout.
Yeah, it's also great because it's such a more intimate setting than the IG Live, and we're able to sit there and correct. And honestly, it's cool to see the kids, and it almost feels like you're in your virtual miniature locker room because we're still chirping each other like we would be in the clubhouse or in the facility. So the kids have been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it already. It's only been 2 sessions so far, but exactly what Mike said. Our biggest focus right now is to treat these kids like athletes before baseball players. So that's definitely what we're going to be focusing on as we go forward.
That's a great point. That's definitely something I want to touch on in terms of being athletes first and baseball players second. So what kind of like concentrated stuff do you guys usually do with your athletes to help them create their athleticism first and then have that translate into their baseball skill?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, when we train here at Travail, we want to build up the body and make them sweat a little bit and make them work hard and to show them that this isn't just some other baseball training session. So we'll do a lot of ladders. I've noticed with a lot of young baseball players or athletes that their footwork is all out of sorts. They can't do a side shuffle. They can't do a simple ladder drill. So without those acquired drills, we can't really teach baseball. I can't teach you how to field a ground ball if you don't know how to side shuffle. So we try to see where all of our athletes are right away within the 15 minutes and kind of adjust our program that we built for that day around that.
Yeah, it's a big thing about that too, how we've been so physical with the ladders, with the functional drills is honestly when these kids start doing this over and over and over, they'll surprise you, and it's exciting. All of a sudden you see that kid just give you a little flash. He goes down, picks that ball up, and all of a sudden he just slides off his knee on the ground, and you're just like, where did this come from? Because you're shocking the mind so much, and it's so repetitive, and then the kids they don't even think about it. And that's that's exactly why in sports it's so important to, number one, do multiple sports. Number two, start at a young age, adapting and dabbling on these little things.
Yeah, you mentioned multi-sport, and that's something I really want to touch on later on, so we'll come back to it. But just really briefly, how important is it to you guys that kids play other sports besides baseball?
It's very important. I was a multi-sport athlete growing up. My first sport was soccer. I think everyone's first sport is soccer when they're in BC. And then I transitioned to baseball, football, track and field, volleyball, roller hockey on the streets with my friends, like every single sport. And that allows me to be the athlete I am today. Like I didn't just, acquire one set of skills of going side to side or forward. I acquired how to play basketball, sprinting and jump on a dime and lay up a layup. And with all those skills, it actually made me a better baseball player. So I would just say to kids who are, on the fence of whether they should give up a sport at an early age, ride it, stick it out until at least you get to high school, and then you can make, or cut certain sports off.
Yeah, 100%. Same here. Played every sport growing up. Played rep hockey for the longest time. That was actually my main sport before baseball. And strapping knives to your feet and skating around on ice will definitely get you set to play a lot of different sports. But it sped up my coordination a lot faster at a younger age. And then basically picking a sport like baseball, it definitely helped me in that transition period to adapt. And so I definitely, number one thing, first thing we even ask kids when they come in is just like, how many hockey players we have here? And then we give them a little high five, a little dab, or any other sport, everything. But, we like to see that. It's very refreshing. We hope the kids don't stop doing that.
We also want to cater to it. So if, we get a kid saying, hey, we can't come in today, we got football practice. I mean, you see some coaches were like, okay, no, you have to make it to this practice. And like, I'll endorse it. I say, hey, go play that sport. Go play that other sport. I notice the type of athlete you are. I know that you're not being lazy. So we'll cater to whatever you got going on in your schedule. Maybe we can make something up or add something in. But at the end of the day, I'll never take away from a kid or a family to allowing their kid to go play another sport. I think that's wrong.
But don't forget, we know what we did that day in practice, so we'll be coming back to that.
Yeah.
That's great. So I want to go into your guys' careers, because you guys have gone through a lot in terms of the baseball world, and you guys have done a lot of really cool stuff. So I know both of you guys got drafted out of high school and signed. That's not something that a lot of people do. Some people opt to go to college. So I'm curious as to the thought process that you guys had when you got drafted out of high school, and what encouraged you guys to go to sign.
Yeah, I mean, me and Tyson had a little bit of a different route. He went to the college route. I signed out of high school in 2008 with the Blue Jays. I felt I was ready to go that route right away because of the program Greg Hamilton provided us with Team Canada. Going down to Florida, going down to the Dominican, you're playing against pros. The schedule they put forth for us is a professional style. Practice in the morning, come in, have lunch, game in the afternoon. Do that for 14 days straight, and you kind of see where your body's at, where your mind's at, because you're kind of out of your element. The first trip you go down there with everyone throwing 95 now, compared to the PBL, throwing mid 80s to high to low 90s for the top guy. So I went that route in 2008. I played with the Blue Jays for 7 years, finished up in Double-A. Ended up having a bad pec injury in my off season, tore my pec as a free agent. So I rehabbed at home in Vancouver in 2015, which is weird for me because we played during the summer. So this was my first summer home in Vancouver since 2007.
Yeah.
Rehab from that, 2016, 2017, I played in the Atlantic League, independent baseball, had 2 very good years. And then 2018, I went over to Mexico, 2019 Mexico, played a little bit of winter ball in Australia, Venezuela, Nicaragua. So I'm just fortunate enough that this game has been able to take me all over the world, meet so many different people, experience so many different cultures. And I'm still playing, still plugging away today. So that's kind of a little bit of history of the path that I took.
Tyson?
Me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, story I like to tell basically is I started in BC minor. I started playing for Kamloops River Dogs, actually, and I took a chance and went down to a trial one day for the Langley Blaze. Just drove down 4 hours, had a pretty good day, and Doug Matheson asked me if I wanted to stick around. So I was 15 years old, and at that time, that's when I left home. And basically, 31 now, I've been living out of a suitcase ever since. But yeah, I played a little stint with Team Canada, with the junior national team at that point. And 2006 was my draft year, but I was the last year draft and follow.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Year. So I spent that year in Council Bluffs, Iowa, playing for Iowa Western Reavers. And I'm going to tell you something. Junior college will definitely physically get you ready to play. With no rules, with how much you have to study next to, doing your academics. So we were out there. Yeah, there we go. Ivan Harlow music right there. He's a Reaver guy himself, and it got me set. And then I was ready for signing with the Mariners right before the draft. Spent a couple of great seasons there, and then I went in the Cliff Leroy Halliday deal to the Phillies. So I was with the Phillies. Now I'm 21 years old in AA, and then that's when the injury bug started plaguing me. And spent 5 years with them, for a little bit over 4 years on the 40-man roster. And yeah, I couldn't stay on the field, and it was really tough. I had a lot of hamstring injuries. I had a broken foot I didn't know about. I had a shoulder that was broken that I didn't know needed to be fixed. So, all these things and overcompensating the body, it wore my body out a little too fast. And taking that being said, this is something, it really hits close to home when we are, working with these kids, because I wish I knew what I know now as far as getting my body in the correct position and firing before I go out there and try and play 140 games. The knowledge wasn't quite there yet. It was just starting to kind of take off. So these are the things that I really tell kids. I was just like, take advantage of the freebies that they give you, working hard every day, making sure your body is right, because this game is way too difficult of a game. And if you have those things, then at least you're going to be able to stay on the field. You're going to be able to have your timing, seeing pitching every day, because coming on and off the bench, an injury here, injury there, it makes it very hard, very difficult to hit, locate your spots, and honestly just have cleats on.
So you guys were in different organizations, obviously, and Tyson, you were in 2 different organizations. So my question, 3 different organizations. Oh yeah, San Diego, that's right. So my question is, how much and how different are like the overlap in terms of organizational ideology, in terms of, either getting ready to play, physical development, stuff like that, or even just something as simple as hitting approaches kind of thing? Because a lot of people, I'm sure, don't really know that, like, a lot of MLB organizations have very different approaches when it comes to how to go about playing baseball.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from myself, I just played affiliated ball with just the Jays, but moved on to different organizations in indie ball in Mexico and whatnot. But the philosophy around hitting compared for each organization is completely different, in how spring training programs might be. They're similar in a way, but they might be different. The food that they give you might be a little bit different. I know for my year, the later half, I think 2012 to 2014, like, our hitting philosophy was the swing down approach. Like, I remember one of my hitting coaches, we put a tee in the middle of the plate, or out front of the plate, and he would feed me flips, and I would have to try to go get that baseball before it hits the tee, which is the complete opposite of what we're teaching now. So you kind of have to, as a young kid, you're just going to just listen to whatever is thrown at your way, because you have no idea. Everything is so new to you. So depending on which organization you're in, it could be the right way, or it could be completely the wrong way, because the coaches might be trying to figure it out too. That being said, from the aspect of working hard and putting in the hours, I think every organization is the same in that dimension. But I mean, Tyson played for 3 affiliated teams, so I really don't know. That's something that I don't really know too much about.
Is this off the record?
Hey, you're the free agent, man.
It's it's really tough. You know, when you're a young kid and the first thing you want to do is what? You want to impress, all right? You want to press and impress. So a lot of things that you're taking in from different hitting coaches and different hitting styles, you don't want to let that person down, okay? You want to do that. Even when you know, like in your heart, that it's just, this is not how you play. This doesn't play for you as a hitting individual. You know, I'll use myself as an example. I was your Hunter Pence type hitter at the plate. I just sat there and I battled, and I just, you know, I used my athletic ability to hit. Like, I didn't mechanically know what I was doing. And honestly, it was fine. Because even when you talk to some of these good hitting coaches like Larry Walker, for instance, I remember one time I was sitting there at first base and it was just like, you know, I was thinking about this. And he was like, what? I was like, well, you know, I was thinking about this. He's like, what? You were thinking? And I was like, true. I was like, good point. And honestly, when I just let my trust in myself and went out to the plate with confidence and didn't really worry so mechanically what I was doing, that's when I had success. So with all these young hitters, I was like, even things that even advice that we give you, okay, it might not work for you, okay? You have to find your mold that works for you specifically. And that's why I like you to talk to Mike about hitting, talk to me about hitting, talk to some of our other coaches about hitting, because their word and the way they relay it may hit you more intimate than us saying it. So these are things that are very important. But number one thing, don't spend too much time being super, you know, uncomfortable. Like, obviously we want you to get out of your comfort zone in order to get better, but as you go on, you know what works for you at the same time. So make sure you're just going up there, you're yourself, you're confident, and things will take off.
And to add to what Tyson just said, I think my favorite year was in 2016 in Indie Ball. We didn't have a hitting coach. It was just a bunch of the guys with their own different philosophies that they take away from the off season, you know, in the cage all together, kind of working on little things. It wasn't one philosophy, because you get to that age and you realize, oh, shoot, that what works for the guy that is 5'9" who runs a 3-4 down to first base isn't going to work for the guy that's 6'4" that's trying to hit homers. So it's like, why are we trying to teach one philosophy to everyone? And I kind of learned that in 2015. When we're just all in the cage, just messing around, being free. And you know what? You leave the cage smiling. You don't leave the cage thinking. You know what I mean? And that was like an eye-opening to me. And I had one of my freest seasons ever, you know? You miss a ball, you strike out, screw it, because you know you're going to get a hit that game. Whereas sometimes in affiliated ball, you put so much pressure on yourself. Like an 0 for 8 is 2 games. But an 0 for 8 in minor league baseball, it's just like, uh-oh, what do we got to do? We got to go back to the drawing board. We got to go to the video. It's like sometimes you don't need that. You just need to relax, breathe, and, you know, smile. And at the end of the day, it's baseball.
Don't hit BP that day. Like, switch it up. You know, just hit the cage.
Yeah.
And kind of relaying basically what Mike is saying about that, the number one thing for me is I explained to these kids, I was like, we can tell you a bunch of different things that have worked for us, have worked for our friends that are successful at the next level, but Johnny beside you and little Raymond over there, your teammate, you're going to learn more from them about hitting than you will from any of us, because you're with them every day. So we encourage the kids. I was like, talk shop sometimes, guys. You guys are in the line right now talking about Fortnite that you're going to be doing later and sleepover. Like, let's talk a little bit about, you know, what you feel at the plate. And these kids start doing that. And it's honestly, even I hear them. When I hear them talking about that stuff, it makes me smile. I was like, this is awesome. I wish I did this when I was young.
Well, we had, I don't know if you've heard of the guy named Steve Springer. But
yeah.
Steve Springer.
Hit ball hard, you win.
Yeah. He constantly hammers down on the same information over and over and over. And at the very beginning, when you meet him, you're like, Steve Springer. Enough, I've heard it. But then you keeps talking, and it finally registers in your mind. And he's one of his lines that he would always say is, if you're hitting 7th in the lineup, 8th in the lineup, that means you've already had 7 ABs mentally. You've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 go. You should now have picked up on some sort of pattern that the pitcher's doing. oh, he started the batter off with a curveball 6 times in a row. Don't go up there looking for a fastball first pitch. You know what I mean? Like, you should, instead of talking about Fortnite, tune in. If you're the 8-hole hitter, you know, screw it. Okay, you want to move up to 4, 3, whatever. You know what I mean? Now lineups are situated to where the 8-hole might be another 4-hole hitter, but you know, pay attention. You know, you might get some free answers to the test by being in the 8-hole. I know sometimes when I was in the 8-hole, I had some of my, you know, best at bats there because I got to see everyone before me, you know, a bat and see what type of pitches they were getting.
Yeah, I think a big thing that I try to tell hitters is like, you're not the only type of hitter in the world kind of thing. Like, so for instance, for me, I was like a get on base. I hit, you know, 280 with a lot of singles kind of guy, but I knew that there's another guy on my team who was the exact kind of hitter. So him and I would always go back and forth and just kind of say like, hey, what are you seeing? What do you get in this count? And then I would, you know, I always tell hitters like our big 4-stick lefty swing who has another guy who's our 5-hole, they need to be talking to each other and they need to be communicating in terms of what they're getting and stuff like that, because the leadoff hitter might get pitched differently than the dude who's, you know, a big power threat. So I think that communication is super important between hitters.
Huge, big time.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's just the pitches that are given, and the 4-hole guy can do damage. So the pitcher might be a little bit more scared, whereas you're a single guy hitter, he might attack you a little bit more just because you're a single guy, and then, you know, try to punch out the guy who's a power hitter. So that all plays a part of the chess game.
Right. So I've heard from a lot of guys, like when they're trying to distinguish between the information that they want to keep and the information that they want to kind of leave behind, and that decision-making process in terms of like picking things to put in your toolbox. How do you kind of go about choosing what feels right and what doesn't?
It took a while, man, because when I first got to pro ball, I finally had a hitting coach, and I took everything, you know, everything that was given to me. I was like, okay, you know, it's like Tyson said, you want to impress. I think once I started to figure out what type of hitter I am is when I started to understand what I can take in and throw out. I think you should take in all information, but also ask the question why. You know, like why am I doing this? You take all that information and then you just don't go home and stop, you know, don't just stop thinking about it. Taking that information, maybe write down something like, is this going to apply to me? You know, do I want to hit the ball on the ground all the time if I'm a slow guy? Probably not, you know, like, so first off, you got to understand what's your goal as a hitter. Continue to take in all the information because you can learn something from maybe even a percentage of speech, and then just go from there. But as a young hitter, you do also have to try a lot of things out first, because until you try everything out, you truly don't know. So I've tried a lot of methods out. One year I had 8 swings in one season, and I realized, you know what, that's not me. So now I have an understanding. So the sooner a young hitter can figure out what they are trying to do in this game is at the plate, the better off they're going to be at, you know, filtering that information.
You know, the tough thing about that and coming up was when we were coming up, and I was coming up too. It's just there was such a platform for like cookie cutter style hitters, and some of these guys that were coming up with power, because it was the time basically like towards the end of my career was slapping the ball on the ground was starting to fizzle out. You know, like everybody kind of wanted to drive the ball in the air, and that was really tough. But you even go back and you see these players that are in the big leagues now hitting home runs and having success. A lot of them were not doing that in the minor leagues. You know, they needed that time to basically find themselves, and that's a big thing. Is if you can't just one day all of a sudden wake up and say, "Hey, I want to lift the ball over the fence," you know, because that approach just doesn't work that way. You know, so there's a lot of these coaches that hitting coaches and instructors that came up, and they're sitting there and you're pulling you this way, because they want to put their mark on you. You know, and that's something that, you know, it's people forget that they're trying to move up also. I mean, these coaches are trying to get up there, and when they have their prodigy here and their prodigy there, obviously it makes them look successful and they should be at the next level with the kids. But you need to, it's tough, but you need to just erase that from your mind because it's not about you.
Take the ego out of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
it is not about you. Okay, you're here for the kid. Okay, you're here for him, and that's, for me, it was really tough because I was your slap hitter, contact guy, running around the bases like crazy, but at the same time, I could drive the ball. So it was really tough for me trying to distinguish between where I'm going to be a power guy or I'm going to be your slap hitting leadoff hitter. So, but that's when we need to let these kids with athletic ability just play it out a little bit as well because they're going to figure it out. Okay, little by little. And then that's what I mean. You have some of these slap hitters in the minors, now they're driving the ball in the big leagues. Just because they stuck with their approach and their confidence kept going as they kept going. And then now they can tweak a little things. They can try little things out. And then that's when, boom, there we go. Now you are a complete hitter. No, it's not going to happen overnight.
Know your base and then go from there.
Right. So just about having that self-reflection and the perspective and knowing who am I.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. And that goes for coaches as well, as having the perspective that if you're a good coach, you're a stepping stone, I think.
Absolutely.
Like, so.
Yeah. More speed bump. Good.
Sorry, having some. There we go. We're back.
There you go.
Okay. Sorry, fellas.
Good.
All right. Anyway, so you guys were both in the minors for quite a bit, and I would love to know, like, there's a lot of conversation right now regarding the struggle of minor league players. And I'm a firm believer that I think that minor league players should, be paid more, be paid, fairly and compensated fairly for what they do. And I'm just curious, like, through, Tyson, you were there for 9 years. Mike, you were there for 7 years. What kind of grind is it actually?
When you first get in there, I was 17, when I first got down there, and it was just like, you get down there and then they tell you, hey, you have 3 more days in this hotel before you got to find an apartment. I've never found an apartment before or anything like that. So that was all new to me. I didn't have any help, but that's okay. I don't consider that too much of a grind. That's just growing up. That's life experience. The grind part of it is when you're in the GCL and, you're not making too much money and, you're not really, the nutrition side of things is kind of poor depending on which organization you're in. You might have a good breakfast, but then you come in, you practice and you come in, you might only have like a 6-inch sub before you have to go play a game in 90-degree heat for 4 hours. And then after that, you go out and you try to go to a restaurant, and to get a meal and maybe an appetizer is $20, and you only got paid $13 that day. That's the grind of the GCL. Now, I was fortunate enough to get a good signing bonus at the time, so my grind was lesser. As I put more years in the minor leagues, I started to realize, oh my goodness, this would be so hard for someone that had to go home and work and try to save up some money to do this. They wouldn't be able to focus on baseball, because I was wondering why the older guys were always considering retiring, and why do they think that they're playing baseball? It's because there's no money. So they're on the field trying to grind this difficult sport that's a failure sport 30% of the time. I mean, the guy, you're going to fail 70% of the time if you're a Hall of Famer. So they're trying to battle that, and they're also trying to battle what they're going to eat that night or how they're going to ration the $100 for that week. That's the grind at the lower levels. And then as you start to get a little higher up, you start dealing with 10-hour bus trips, with mandatory 10 a.m. workouts in the morning. And as an everyday player, I mean, you might have stole 3 bases or dove in the outfield, your body's hurting. Last thing you want to do is go to the gym. Yeah. That's the grind. So it's almost like you're tearing your body down so much, which is a good thing because you're mentally preparing yourself in a different aspect, but it's not the most efficient way. I think minor league baseball could be a lot more efficient in the way they handle their athletes. And one might be to give them $500 every month just to help them with rent, or another $500 $500 just to help them with food so they can show up to the locker room and be like, okay, just baseball today. Not like, okay, how am I going to make this money? How am I going to pay off this credit card? Yada, yada, yada. So that's the biggest grind on minor leagues for me.
Yeah, I mean, myself in rookie ball, I think I remember my first paycheck. I think it was around $216 for 2 weeks of work. This was back in 2007. And I'm just thinking to myself, I was like, I got my phone bill. I need to eat. And I was just like, I got nothing. I was like, I got nothing. I was like, that La Quinta Hotel Continental breakfast, there was nothing left in that place. All right, so aside from that, you're trying to stay on the field every day healthy in a nutrition standpoint. It's just like, well, I'm eating Subway and I'm eating Chipotle probably 6 times a week. You know, you found out that Subway's doing your $5 footlong. You have an absolute village of players waiting outside. Boom, let's go. As far as that, and then obviously being a rookie, once you get to the higher levels, and some of these older veterans have been around a long time, and we respect that. You know, there are some days I'm on an 8-hour bus trip, I'm sitting on the Powerade cooler right in the middle of the bus lane because I have no seat. And then I have to go out there, lead off, and play center every day. It's kind of a grind on the legs. And as far as that, even getting to higher levels, finding your own apartments with some of your teammates, you have to have 6, 7 guys in a 2-3 bedroom apartment. You know, you're sleeping side by side on an air mattress, and then one day you wake up and things deflated, and you have to go get another one. It was a lot of different things back and forth, you know, but the commodity of the guys being with the teammates and doing that grind with a special set of individuals is the reason we played for so long. Okay, that makes everything all worth it. And some of the relationships that I've built with guys all over the world now, it's so special. And you know what? I would do it all over again for half the price.
I'm a firm believer of experiencing both ends of the spectrum. All right, so like in a minor league season over 140 games, you're at the very bottom of that spectrum. Sometimes you're in an apartment with 8 people, 2-bedroom apartment with 8 people. That's bottom.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next day you're celebrating with the same people off a walk-off win. You know, that's 2 different ends. And over 140 games of doing that, you create this brotherhood that lasts. That 6 months lasts a lifetime. I can go down to Florida right now and talk to teammates that I played with in 2010, and we'll have stories for days. You know, we'll just for days, and that's what makes that grind of minor league baseball so special. And I didn't get a chance to play with Gillies until Lima, Peru this year for the Pan American Games, but I know that we've experienced the same thing because in minor leagues, no matter where you go, that grind that we're talking about is the same.
Right. Now, in retrospect, as you guys are talking right now, it's like, it's easy to say like, yeah, it was totally worth it for sure. But during that time, how important is that like mental toughness to like, okay, like I'm in a terrible mood today. I'm tired. My body hurts. I haven't eaten properly in, a month now. How am I going to lock in?
You have to stay positive. And that goes back to being drafted. Like if you're a high school student, are you ready for that? Yeah. Are you ready to not eat for 5 hours? Are you ready to have your body hurting? But in college, you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. You know what I mean? But pro ball, hey, you got to strap it on. You got to be ready to go. You don't want to go? All right, sit on the bench and get Wally picked. You know what I mean? So you have to stay positive the entire time. You have to, look at a bad situation. Understand that, okay, this is not ideal. This is not where I want to be. I got to keep working so I can get out of this. But, have some fun with that. You know what I mean? Enjoy the grind. Enjoy that travail. You know what I mean? For real. And if you can do that, then you know what? You'll come out of a bad situation with amazing experiences. Amazing. That'll last a lifetime. But if you're negative, you're going to go home. Oh, these people over here, can you not believe this? Why is the coach doing this? And then next thing you know, you're in August. It's been 6 months. You look in the mirror and you're like, holy, maybe I'm the cancer. Maybe I'm the poison that was going on. So you have to stay positive because it could be very challenging at times.
It could, and you know what? If you're not ready for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you better be ready for bologna because
I'm allergic. I'm allergic. I'm allergic to peanut butter too.
Oh no.
My struggle was real, man.
Oh no. Imagine being a
you know,
celiac.
It's mental toughness, and one thing I will tell you, probably in a 140 game season, I would say maybe 20 of those games you feel good and have energy. maybe 20.
Yeah.
I feel like I could get some guys in the comment right in here to agree with me on that one. You know, you're going out there fatigued every day. Your body's not feeling good, and you know what? You have to. Once you're between the lines, you just got to grind. You just got to set that switch and be like, hey, I'm ready. And then on top of that, you got to make sure that you forgot about what happened yesterday because that doesn't matter. So
right.
there's so many ways about it. And, you know, obviously the failing is a big part of the sport. And to deal with that, to find out, to honestly find out and make sure that the best hitters there are the ones that forget faster. The best baseball players, athletes, they forget the fastest. Okay? Long story short, that's it. All right? As soon as you can forget it and keep going forward, the more success you're going to have.
That brings me to an interview I had with Lewis Boyd a couple weeks ago. He's a player development guy in the Mariners organization now. And he always talks about a mantra that they have nowadays called doesn't matter, get better. Doesn't matter, get better. And it's essentially like, okay, yesterday was bad, doesn't matter, get better today. Yesterday was good, doesn't matter, get better today. So I think having that like professionalism, I think is, as you guys are saying right now, the utmost importance of being able to just drop it and restart kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So Mike, as you were talking about the two ends of the spectrum, you guys had the minor league grind and you guys also had the WBC. I'd love to go to the WBC for both of you guys. Tyson, I know you're right in the middle of the whole thing over in Mexico. So I talked to Sony about that. He has great stories about it. I love hearing stories from different perspectives about that moment in Canada history, because that's what it is. It's a Canadian heritage moment, I think. So.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Let's just go in like beginning to end, the feel of the building, the feel of like how it's going, like, because like your guys' catcher drops down the bunt. I'm blanking on his name. Robinson, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He drops down the bunt. Mexico's choked. Third baseman's doing this kind of thing. So
yeah, it's just international baseball is very different, and a lot of those guys, honestly, coming from college, coming from pro ball, you know, especially like the American guys on the team, the Italian guys, and like on different teams too. So going from college, obviously that's Bush, like putting a bunt in that situation, but runs for and against in international baseball, everything matters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in that situation, yeah, we kind of knew what was going to play out after that. As soon as the Sony was going up to the plate, you know, we didn't think too much of it because some of us had already played with Team Canada for different stints, but for them that wasn't definitely not okay. So after the first pitch, we were like, okay, well, he's going after him like we knew he would. Second pitch, I was like, yeah, usually you don't really see a pitcher kind of go after you twice. Third, I was like, man, oh, here we go.
Your shot.
I'm out there ready to go, and I remember one of the guys grabbing me, and kind of like at that heat of the moment, you kind of just react. So I had to kind of, you know, put him to the side for a second. So I could
put him to the side.
Sit down. Make sure to sit down. Sit down.
Make sure, like, you know, the safety of my teammates. I'm going to get in the middle. Yes, I'm going to make sure, you know. I think my hearing aids knocked out in there. I couldn't hear anything. So I was just looking around, and all of a sudden, Brett Laurie and myself, I got Brett Laurie on top of me. I got Fredo Estevez on top of me. I was like, oh, couldn't breathe very well. I got Jay Johnson running around everywhere. Scott Matheson was a big part of that as well. And yeah, you know, it kind of just it got away from us a little bit, but as you can see in between the lines in that very moment, you could honestly see that the Canadian guys were there for each other.
Oh, absolutely.
It's different, and I will go ahead and say you won't find another another team, world team organization with as close as a bond as those guys, because, you know, it's special. I've known a lot of those guys for over 10 years now, and they are a family to me. And yeah, well, we would go out of our way for any of those guys any day of the week. So if it had to happen again, I mean, unfortunately, it's part of the game. You know, we weren't looking for it, but yeah, we're gonna come out running.
Hey, we didn't start it, but we'll finish it, and that's kind of the mantra for Canada, right?
There's some big guys out there. I remember Tyson would tell you the same thing. He was one of the shorter guys out there. I was one of the shorter guys out there with 6'6", 6'7" bodies all over the place. I was like, you guys got it.
Yeah. I remember I was reading about it when I was going to talk to Tassoni, and I can't remember which guy on your team, he wrote like a piece about it and like explained it from his perspective, and he was talking about Jay Johnson, and he was like, the thing that I remember most is he tried to go back to the bullpen to warm up to go in, like he wouldn't get tossed out of that game.
No, he didn't try. He went to the bullpen and he threw a sign. He went through a bullpen as he was supposed to be ejected out of the game. And I'll tell you one thing, Jay Johnson that's a guy you want out there, because I've been on the Atlantic Ocean with that guy for two winters, lobster fishing. And that's just one strong kid.
Mike, you were in a different WBC. I would love to hear, like, that one's not as talked about, I would say, as a big fight in 2013. But like, that was a big year. We had a lot of good names. It sucked that Russell Martin couldn't play, but like Freddie Freeman was on the squad, and I'm curious, like, you were a part of a very high profile team, I would say. And I would love to hear, like, what does the clubhouse look like? What does the dugout feel like? What does it feel like to be on that roster?
I mean, it's established. Like, you make these Team Canada teams, whether it be the senior national team for Pan Am Games or a World Baseball Classic team, but you're dealing with all these guys who have started in the junior national team program when they were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. So that atmosphere is created then. So
Right.
when you go into an environment like, say, you're a younger guy going into a WBC with high-profile names like that, you don't get treated like a rookie. Yes, you have to, be respectful to the guys that have done more in their career than you, but you're not walking in there stepping on, eggshells. You can be you. You can have your personality as long as you represent Canada well. And I think Ernie Witt and Greg Hamilton, they do a very good job of trying to pick those Canadians that not only are good baseball players, obviously, but can represent the jersey well, because they know it's not an ego. It's not an ego thing when it comes to Team Canada. It's about, can you fight for these next 4 to 6 games, however many games you play in the tournament? Can you fight for that guy over there? Can you get benched because there's a lefty going and, because there's a lefty going and, you might be overmatched that day as a hitter. Can you sit on the bench and root on your teammates? So that's kind of the atmosphere that I felt in the WBC, and I'm just like, this is amazing, because if you step into that atmosphere, maybe in Major League Baseball, you're going to get treated truly as a rookie. You might have guys that have an ego and says, okay, why is this guy here? He's going to be sent down in 10 days. But Team Canada, it's one of the most amazing experiences for me. I love getting that call whenever I can receive that call from Greg or Ernie. Okay, strap it on, ready. Mentally I'm prepared, ready to see all the guys again, because I've known them, like Tyson said, for 10 years. So yeah, it's a real relaxed, easy atmosphere, but also an atmosphere where, we have to show the world why Canada, is still good at this beautiful game of baseball.
Never been a part of a team with as much fire as those guys. Yeah. Never. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah. That takes me to something that, like, Scott Richmond was saying. He was saying the exact same things about how Team Canada's culture works out and how it plays out. And I guess my question is, like, to like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid who's maybe trying out for his first PBL team, and he sees this like weird culture on the team, and they want to kind of maybe make it different for when they're a team leader, for when they're 17 or 18 years old. How do you build that? How do you build that trust for each other and that love for each other?
I think you have to treat everyone kind of the same. I think you have to get rid of hazing. You know what I mean? It's pointless. I think you should create an atmosphere where, if you're a rookie, you treat the seniors with respect. You don't override, you don't talk up to them too much, but it's a respect thing. You should be able to come into the team and just be respected, whether you're a veteran or a rookie. And if that culture can be created, then people are able to think freely and play their game freely, and they don't have to go to practice and be like, okay, I got to do it like this veteran wants, or I got to do it like this coach wants. No, have your own flair, but be respectful to your teammates around that. And if teams can, conquer that, it makes for a really fun year. And those years, you remember everybody on that team. I mean, it's nice to win a championship with those teams, but even if you don't, you go out there and compete and be your own person, and you respect every one of your teammates, and it's amazing. And that's what Team Canada has.
Yeah, it's a game of karma. It's just good karma. Come out there every day, ready to work. And if you're out there staying quiet, ready to work, going out there every day, doing what you need to do, making everything more convenient for the rest of the team. That's basically the word I use, is coming in there, rookie. I was going to work my tail off, but I was going to try and make it convenient for everybody as well. Doing the little things that these guys, I already knew these guys had to do when they were younger. You already know you have to pick up the slack. Okay, it's all part of it. You're starting in the mailroom. Okay, you're starting in the mailroom and you're trying to become an equal. And that's what it is. And obviously these kids, they need to not be frightened about that. You just have to know, hey, here's your internship. Let's get ready to go. Like, you got to come out here working hard, because these guys have done it for a lot of years. So they will respect that grind about you and you coming every day, putting in the work, okay? Because then they'll be like, yes, that's a team guy right there. That guy is going to shape this mold that we have so well to become a championship team. And then it keeps going. And then there it goes, the endless cycle. And obviously it's very important. And these are things that we love to mentor the kids as they go. Like, this is how it's going to be, guys. Yeah. We're not going to sugarcoat it. This is how it's going to be. Be ready for it now.
I love that you use the word mentorship. And I think that's a really important, term that a lot of coaches, they think that they might be doing, kind of thing. And they probably are to a point, because everybody's mentoring in a certain way. But to mentor correctly and to be able to create not only better ball players, but better people. And I think that should be a number one goal with a lot of coaches is, okay, even because like 99.9% of the kids that you coach, they're not going to be, big leaguers or Hall of Famers. So how can you leave a lasting impact on these kids after they're done playing baseball, right? So what kind of messages do you think are really important to send to kids to just kind of say, like, okay, being a ball player, fantastic. How do you be a better person?
I mean, you come into any situation and you're new, you got to represent your brand well. Michael Crouse, how are they going to speak about me? But I'm not only my brand, I'm an extension of my mom, my dad, my sisters. So like, if I come in and I'm an asshole, you know what I mean? If I come in and I'm disrespectful, then I don't want to ruin my family's brand as well. And that's kind of how I treat that. So I think if we can get across to all the young kids, that you're not only representing your brand, you're also not representing the name of the jersey, but you're also representing your parents, the people that drove you to practice, the people that, got you the lunch. If you disrespect your teammates, the coaches, and don't put in that work ethic, then you're disrespecting the people that drove you to the game. And I never wanted to do that. So that's how I think coaches should mentor their kids. It's beyond you, because when you're gone, this baseball game is going to keep going. And you know what? If you have that bad label attached to your name because of those 4 years in the PBL, that's going to affect you in life, because this game is full circle. You're going to meet someone down the road 10 years from now that you're going to kind of need. Maybe you go into business or you go in a different direction. It's just like, nah, bro, I know your true character, bro. 4 years in the PBL, like, you were the same guy, you didn't change. And maybe you did grow up a little bit, but it's still in there. So It's beyond those 4 years of PBL. Respect your brand and respect the other people that allowed you to have that brand.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important as far as being mentors, being instructors to these kids, there's a lot of, I did this back in the day, I did that back in the day, all these success stories. I was like, you have to throw yourself under the bus as well. You have to tell these kids, this happened to me, that happened to me, this was not good, that was not good. And, you know, have to kind of let them learn from your experiences, especially your experiences that were not good experiences.
Yeah.
You know, like, because that's the only way they're going to learn. Oh, this one time, Coach Gillies, like, this happened. I was like, yeah, like, I would love that, like, in the future, like, for these kids to honestly sit back, take a breath, and breathe, and be like, hey, there was that one time that I remember our coach said this, and yeah, you know, he was right. He was right, because for me coming up, I wish I kind of had somebody closer to me, compatible. Like, if there was anybody close in that situation, it was probably Scott Matheson.
Yes.
Scott Matheson was a really good mentor for me coming up, and me and him even till this day. You know, whenever I need anything, wherever I are in a situation, like I'll text him, just because he's been through it all with the same organization. And you know, I would say as far as the baseball world, he's been my mentor growing up, and it's great to have that experience with guys like that. And I would love these kids down the road. We encourage them all the time. It's just like, guys, you need something, send us a text, send us a message. It has nothing to do with us being your coaches, your trainers. It just has to be us being two people, our two personalities that blend well together. And we're here to help you guys, because, you know, we're just all trying to be successful in life.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about, because I know you guys champion causes like Tyson. I know that you're very invested in like the deaf baseball players and deaf athletes communities and stuff like that. And that's a very close feel to your heart kind of thing. And I'm just saying this, like, we're going to get cut off here in a couple minutes. So if we get cut off, we'll just come back on real quick. But I would love to talk about how that championing causes and being willing and vulnerable to fight for things that mean a lot for you, you know, because some kids may think, oh, I don't want to go out there and be outed and vulnerable about something that I really care about, because it's tough to be vulnerable. And some kids have mind frames where, you know, if you try too hard, you're a try hard. If you do too much, you are bringing like up the team morale, which some kids want the team morale to stay down because it makes them feel safe kind of thing. So championing causes and having things close to your heart, how does that help with mentorship? How does that help with, like, for you becoming a three-dimensional figure?
Whew. I mean, if you know me, you'll know the story of basically kind of how I've always lived life. I was kind of that guy, like, as an athlete, you know, I came here with a hearing impairment. You're out there in the outfield, and the first thing everybody's thinking is like, oh man, that's an accident waiting to happen. I was like, can't hear the right fielder, can't hear the left fielder. It's just, you know, but every day I use that as some energy and a fire, because I had to go out there and I had to work extra hard and do this. And I know it probably seemed like I was a try hard and I was a little too much, but you know what? I was dealing with a little bit something extra. Okay. And so I wanted people to basically have something to talk about other than my hearing impairment. Hey, he's out there. I was like, wow, this guy's working hard again. I mean, that was the usual. It wasn't, oh, this guy, oh yeah, he's got a hearing impairment though. He's kind of a liability. So that's the way. And so when I'm teaching these kids, and I even talked about it earlier, I was like, it's the freebies. Okay, it's the freebies that you're given in sport, but it's the things you're given in life. Okay, so it's life things you can, showing up on time, working hard, being a good person. Okay, manners, respect, all of this. And as far as being a mentor to the kids, I mean, these are all things that hit close to home for me with an impairment that I have. So obviously I try and relate everything to life. Okay, you'll even hear us talk about it in the cage. We'll sit there, hey, this drill for hitting is good for this, and you know, your hard work for that, the little tangibles, but we'll always come back and be like, and when you guys are in school, when you guys are out there with your friends, these are also things. So it's these little messages that we like to give our kids here and there. Like, forget about the sport, all right? Forget about the sport, forget about athletics, okay? Because we're trying to build men. We're not just trying to build athletes and baseball players, okay? We're trying to help these kids grow up because, you know, like I said, the sports will come and go, but, you know, your relationships, you being a good person, you being accountable, those are the things that matter, you know, when it's all said and done. It's not the numbers, okay? It's the stories that you have left behind.
Yeah. Well said. I like to credit past coaches that I've had, and that's how I know I had good coaches growing up, is that when things happen in my life, it brings me back to something a coach said to me, or it brings me back to a lesson that I learned. So that's how I know I had good coaches in my life. And as a coach, I hope that in 20 years, kids are going to think that about me as well. So I'm almost positive that kids are going to think the same thing about you guys, because you guys, from everything I hear, I've never seen you guys in action, but I know that you guys are more than just coaches, you're role models as well. And I know that that's really important to you guys. So props to you guys.
Appreciate that.
Going into we're going to get cut off in 1 minute and 36 seconds. So if we go a little bit long, we'll just hop back in quickly and then we can wrap up. But your guys' coaching philosophies, we've touched on it a lot in terms of making kids better people and better athletes. Tyson's talked a lot about multi-sport athletes, having kids that are, you know, athletic all the way around. What kind of stuff do you guys do you said ladder drills and stuff like that to build athleticism. Do you guys let kids play soccer in the gym? Do you guys I know you guys run training sessions and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, with the cage, you know, depending on the kids that we have and the program we have, you know, we'll let them mess around at the very end, put up, you know, little obstacle courses for them to play around with, and just basically, I don't know, mess around to where they're not just doing the standard drill. Like, instead of just a step, shuffle, throw, you know, play around with this, bare hand this thing, throw it from the ankles, you know, and have fun with it. Because that also shows us what type of athleticism they have as well. But it also makes it light and fun, because you see it on TV, Brandon Phillips and, you know, all the good shortstop, second basemen in the league mess around, barehanded, throw it from the side. So I don't want them to just come in and just go, feel it here, boom, and then step, boom, up, top, throw. I don't want it to get too technical. Once I find that you have that base, you know, let's have fun with it. Let's play around. And then from there, you know, you know that you're coming into an environment where you can have fun.
That, yeah, same thing. We love the kids to come in and be comfortable, you know, be themselves. We set up, like you said, these obstacle courses sometimes, these tough speed and agility courses they're tough with courses for guys our age, okay? Everything we do is kind of a base, a platform that it's as difficult as you make it. And these kids, you know, we've been very fortunate to have, you know, the hardworking clients that we do. Like, these guys are awesome, and guys and girls. I mean, it's been great. And yeah, it's just, we love to have them in there. We love to have them. We always encourage them, like, early. When they come early, I was just like, don't just sit there and get ready for the pro. I was like, go out there, go play spike ball for a minute, or go kick that soccer around in the cage. So, I mean, these things are super important. Be a kid. You're playing a game. Don't forget that.
Yeah. How much do you guys feel that kids having fun helps them with engaging with the material that you guys teach?
I mean, for myself, if I'm having fun, I have my best year. So that's gotta count for something. I know when I was growing up playing baseball and football and all my sports, I always had fun and I always enjoyed the game. So we try to preach that. You know, like, we're gonna be stern, we're gonna be hard to, you know, create an accountability factor. But once you can show us that, you know, you're working hard and you're accountable on things, all right, you know, like, let's try something different, you know, let's play around with something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll joke around as much as any of them. So everyone, a lot of our guys will say that too. We joke around with everybody at the same time, because even like in my career, if you're coming into the park smiling and laughing about what happened yesterday, and that takes away the thinking part of playing the game, and that's what you need. You're playing such a mental game that you don't really need to be thinking all the time. You just need to have fun, react, and do. Okay, and that's definitely what we preach to these kids day in and day out.
Right. Uh, so usually what I like, just to wrap up, I like to ask the guys, like, what advice do you have for a kid right now who may want to follow in your footsteps, kind of thing? So what a kid who wants to go into pro ball, play for Team Canada, all that kind of stuff, what advice can you give them?
Get a big suitcase with wheels.
Yeah.
Advice. That's a good question, man. I would say, do the little things right. Control what you can control. So for a kid, what can you control? Wake up. Be respectful to your parents, first off, because they're doing everything for you. They're making you lunches and dinners and driving you to the dentist, everything. So without them, honestly, you're just a kid on the streets. You know what I mean? So be respectful to them. Take care of your schoolwork. Take care of your friends in school. Do all your homework. That's what you can control. Show up to your, activities, whether it's football or hockey or whatever, and just work hard. Work hard. That's it. Work hard. Do that daily. You win each day, you win each week. You win each week, you win the month, you win the year. Next thing you know, you're this person, you look in the mirror, you're tall, you put on some muscle because you're in the weight room, and then you can kind of start to see where that's going to transition, whether it's not baseball, whether it's football, I don't know. But control what you can control. Take care of the day-to-day, and then, you know what, see where you end up.
Biggest thing I would have to say is get ready for sacrifice. Okay, because you're gonna have to sacrifice day in and day out, like what we touched base on before. I mean, it's leaving home at 15 years old or 16, 17 years old. You have to grow up quick. Okay, you have to grow up much faster than you thought you would, and life comes at you really fast. So the things I'll tell these kids is make sure you're ready for that, but make sure to definitely live in the moment. Okay, don't let that moment pass you by. Okay, humble yourself from the beginning to the end, because like I said, the game was great. The years playing the game was great, but it's the relationships that you build along the way. I mean, I can't stress that enough. It's a little bit different. And then the number one thing that I love with Mike and I with Travail and having guys come in and watching them and the commodity of them working out together, it's special to see, because we know when we were in Tampa, Florida, training under the same facility or what, like how much fun we had, and we still talk to these guys constantly. I was just like, it's just one of those things. And so for any young kid coming up, you guys, you got quite a ride ahead of you, and I'm excited for you. I wish I could be there with you to relive it all over again, but I can't. All I can tell you are my stories, and hopefully these things will help you guys prepare yourself once you get to the next level. And yeah, brace yourself.
All right. And lastly, kids are sitting at home having a hard time, lifting weights, throwing the ball to a partner instead of a net or a garage door, hitting the ball, going to, they can't go to baseball practice, that kind of stuff. You guys obviously have your online sessions and stuff like that, but what can kids do right now to continue being productive?
Get creative. I remember I used to get a bouncy ball, 2 bouncy balls, and I would create 3 different characters in my mind, and I would throw this bouncy ball against the stairs, and it would come back, and I would field it. I would just create certain little games. So get creative with little drills. At the end of the day, guys, it's baseball. You don't have to be so technical about it. Go play catch with your mom, with your dad. If they can't play catch, get them better. I don't know, drag them outside the house, throw the ball against a brick wall. And just move. Be creative with it, because you don't have to be on a baseball diamond to get better. You don't have to be in a cage to get better. You don't have to, for the older kids, be in a squat rack to get better. This is a time where you can get creative with the drill that you've always wanted to try.
Yeah, just any way you guys can work on that hand-eye coordination, your exchanges with same thing. I think we all did that. I used to throw the ball in between stairs. Boom, boom, come back. And then whenever that ball was gone, all right, You got 10 push-ups, you got 20 push-ups, you got 20 sit-ups. Like I used to do that. I used to punish myself. Yeah. And you know, that's, like I said, that's something that got me ready in the physical standpoint. And then you're ready there, and then everything can take off from there. So basically, yeah, just be creative, have an imagination, be a kid.
All right. Do you guys want to talk about your online sessions? Or people? Do you guys want to talk about your online sessions?
Yeah, so right now we teamed up with Matt Holtzmann here at East Fan Sports Clinic, and he's put together a fantastic program that we've been running kids through the last 2 weeks on Instagram Live, and now we've switched to the Zoom platform. These workouts are catered to baseball themselves, athletics in general, I guess you could say. And we'll be doing workouts Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. for the next 3 weeks. If you want the Zoom link, feel free to DM Travail Development, and we can get everybody situated. This is a good way to stay in shape and learn also. Holtzy is a very, he's got a lot of knowledge, and not only are you getting a great workout, you're learning terminology that you're going to have to use when you get older and you start working out. So I think it's a good opportunity, especially since we're stuck at home, to at least try it out.
Yeah, and Holtzy's been awesome, and he's been using us as guinea pigs to do the exercises. So we're doing the exercises along with the kids. He'll be sitting there running us through like a personal training session, like he would be coaching out here in Essentials of Athletics. And we're asking him questions. And then we have Sean Cosier, another great strength and conditioning coach, very, very well qualified. And he's been sitting there writing notes, taking each and every individual screen. And we're just trying to show these guys. We're trying to speed up that athletic coordination. We're trying to get fine-tuned and get them ready to hit the ground running once we can get outside and get between the lines again. And it's been awesome. Like we said, it's very new to us. We're enjoying it, and yeah, we're along.
All right, guys. Sorry, excuse me. Thanks a lot, guys. This has been fantastic. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. You guys are, great. Everybody should check out these workouts, by the way. I've watched them. I've seen what it looks hard. I haven't tried it because it's too hard for me. I'm way out of shape. But if you are a young athlete and you need some advice or something to get you moving, it doesn't require any equipment, right?
Yeah, no equipment. Maybe a belt. That's about it.
Right. So if you're looking for something to do, get active, get into it, get involved with these guys here. They're giving it to you, so take it. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate you guys being here and chatting with me about, everything. Everything that you've said, I think, is valuable information. So I appreciate this a lot.
Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate that, brother.
Thanks, man. I'll see you later. You have to come in sometime.
Absolutely. Once we're not social distancing anymore, I'll be there.
Right. Exactly.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Take care, guys.